handwritten note. Sure. Or physically.
Energy. That creates the lid and everybody.
So if you and I disagree on something, then you must be erased and banished from
In Florida, like 500 is like a mansion, yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this week's SamSpeaks and SamSpeaks radio podcast on iTunes. Today we have Nicole Beauchamp, and she has a very cool method and way that she grew her business, which was solely from referrals. And to this day, she still has a huge referral base. So we're going to learn exactly how she built her business, how she built her referral base, and what is she doing now that has changed from when she started in the business. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you get into real estate? Let's start out with the simplest question.
Simplest question. It was kind of by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Before real estate, I was a technology and management consultant, sort of financial services, and I'm born and raised in New York, native Manhattanite. So every time someone was moving to New York, I'd say, hey, Nikki, what should we do? Where should we live? Okay, this is, these are the schools, these are the restaurants. Call my friend who will help you find an apartment. After the third or the fourth or like the 10th, says, hey, if you have a real estate license, I can give you something other than a Starbucks card. And I don't drink coffee. So a Starbucks card is kind of useless.
Right.
I say, I don't want my license, just do it. And there's also a side note, I had a holiday party one year and she drove up in a car that was all paid by my referrals.
You're like the main promoter.
So I like to connect people.
Yeah.
Connect good people with each other.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. So I get my license and I am worn out from the technology world, and I said, I can do this. I like numbers. I love New York City. I'm going to give it a try. And that's basically how I got into actively selling real estate.
So now all of this business that you were referring out,
The business that I was referring out, I now have. Sadly, that person has since passed away. So
I was going to say, what about the person you were referring to?
I mean, honestly, at one point we thought about working together, and that would have been wonderful. But that did not turn out to be the case.
Right. So, as friendly and amazing as you are, I'm sure you just didn't wake up one day and have a ton of friends.
No. Actually, as a kid, I was really shy. I played 2 musical instruments, from one at the age of 5, the other age of 10. I went to performing arts high school, but I'm not naturally outgoing. This has been a very, very long process. But because of certain things that happened in my childhood, I do not like to see people sort of left to the side.
Sure.
So naturally, I want to connect people, even if I just walk away after. Even if I don't like you, I might want to connect you with people. That's not really true. So that's kind of been the cornerstone of my life and business, even before real estate. So I think the relationships really drive a lot of business.
Sure. So where did you meet all of these people that you were referring and now you are receiving as clients?
People that I worked with, people that I was going to work with, people that I went to school with, friends of friends, charity work, volunteer work, being a good person. People are actually kind of friendly. We just say hi to them.
How many groups do you belong to?
Business groups, networking groups, charities, all that stuff.
All of them.
I volunteer a little bit with Special Spectators, which is a wonderful nonprofit in New York that two of my friends started. They help provide, think like Make-A-Wish, but for sports.
Okay.
It's actually really cool. I am on the board currently of one nonprofit that is related to music. So it connects back to my past, and it's been a wonderful experience. In the past, I've been on the board of Little Leagues, of local orchestras, things like that, and even just being, go to a soup kitchen, like volunteer, be a good person,
right?
And you will meet other people who have similar interests,
right?
There's one organization called Destination Imagination. It's creative problem solving for kids, and imagine being in a room 3 or 4 times a year with people who all have your same passion. The parents, the other volunteers. Actually, I have friends who are flying into San Francisco this weekend. This couple is the couple that brought me to that organization. And he's a Harvard Law educated attorney. And so that connection and passion, he connects me more often with people about real estate than he does his best friend, one of his closest friends from college, who is also in real estate.
Which is crazy. That happens to me too, and I kind of feel bad, but I don't. But it's interesting when that does happen.
It's the affinity of your affinity with people, how you bond. That is actually stronger than what you do. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't walk up to people and say, I sell real estate.
Which was my next question. What is that approach?
Find out what they do. Mm-hmm. Be interested in them. Then they'll be interested in you. And there's more to my life than real estate.
Right.
And I know everybody's different. Some people will walk up and say, you know, what, I sell homes.
Right.
And I might not say that the first time that I meet you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who are you? What do you do? What do you do for fun? What moves you? What are you passionate about? And maybe there's something in there that I'm also interested in, and I can bond with you, and then we can talk about what we do for work.
Right. You had told me that over or about 90% of your business comes from referrals. That is a huge amount. So are they coming from out-of-state agents or?
So out-of-state agents, out-of-country agents, past clients.
How are they finding you as far as the out-of-state and out-of-country?
So I've loved coming to Inman conferences. Mm-hmm. I have made great friendships mm-hmm. that have re-energized my business. Back in 2000, when Lehman crashed and we all got very depressed for obvious reasons.
Right.
You kind of needed to look for something to re-energize. A lot of the people that I've been selling properties to were not doing anything.
Right.
And I took that as an opportunity to start doing more things online. Mm-hmm. And some people said to me, my God, we had forgotten you were still around. And I said, well, I've had the same landline phone number for decades.
Yeah.
You've had it since we were 5. It has not changed, but that's a different story. But it gave me an opportunity to reconnect with people, to reintroduce myself. And it made it really easy for people to connect other people to me. Mm-hmm. Because now it's kind of, my friend Nikki. And it was very soft, and I don't necessarily have to be involved in the introduction. I'll get a phone call, and they'll say, well, my friend, Donna told me to call you because I need an apartment in New York. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out they can't live in New York because they're coming, and this one has to be, this one is an attorney, and she has to be in a state where she can have reciprocity, and it turns out to be Connecticut. I'm like, well, I know a great broker in Connecticut. Right. And I can still always connect you further. Mm-hmm. And then they come back and say, we want to move back to New York City. But
So let's take Inman as an example and use Inman as an example. How do you come to a conference like Inman and make the most out of it by building your referral base? Are you, are you handing out your cards? Are you targeting certain people that you want to meet? Do you have a science behind it?
I think there's more of a science to it now than there was when I started coming. Mm-hmm. One of the things, even if people are still here or as things go in the future, Inman has a great online community. Mm-hmm. If you have writers that you're interested in meeting, find out if they'll be at the conference. Mm-hmm. Whether they're staff writers who are wonderful or the contributors, many of us attend the conference, so that's one thing. Mm-hmm. The app this year was actually a really great way for people to look to see who's attending, who do I maybe want to connect with, mm-hmm. and sort of seek people out. Right. Don't be afraid to shoot a note over and say, hey, you know what? Do you have 10 minutes for a cup of coffee? Right. And I'm a big fan of trying to plan ahead. Right. Because, like this year at Inman, there's so much content, and there's so much stuff going on. And there's so many people that they're like, when did you get in? Right. I got in on Monday. Well, I got in on Monday. I haven't seen you all week. So it's very hard for that. It's very easy for that to happen. Mm-hmm. But if you plan a little bit, it'll be easier to kind of actually make it happen. Right. So how do you stay connected? So, you're here in San Francisco now, you go back to New York. How do you stay connected with all these people that you've met? Phone, email. I will write handwritten notes to mm-hmm. people because I love with my fountain pen and my wax seal. Old school, I like it. Yeah, I have my travel fountain pen in my bag, but I left note cards in another suitcase. Mm-hmm. But it's so much easier to stay connected to people now. You can send someone a video message, you can, Instagram. I'm trying to Instagram stories later when I leave here. And create experiences. One of my favorite things to do at Connect in New York, which now I'll tell you and you'll remember when you're there next time, I almost always do a property tour. And this last year we went to the Woolworth Tower and Residences. We actually got to go up in the construction elevator and look at the space of where these wonderful residences will be created. You create experiences like that. I have people who still remember from 4 years ago. Remember that time we went to Chelsea to one of the new developments that your company had, and that was awesome. And I have friends who are moving back to Australia, and she connected me to her buyer's broker to help my friends buy in Australia, and then I will sell their New York City property.
That's kind of fantastic.
And that started at Connect.
Okay. Let's talk about your clients. So you had said before, obviously you get referrals from agents and out of the country agents, but what about your business? I think a question that so many agents have is how, it's great when you have your first 10 clients and then you get your 20 clients and 30. And then once you have, 100 clients that you've worked with, it's so hard to continue to touch them again, to reach out to them. So do you have any process to continue to be in front of them and acknowledge them and connect with them and, of course, receive referrals from them?
I actually think it's not as hard as people think that it is. We spend a lot of time with people during the process of buying a home. They give us pretty much all the information we need to know. If you're listening, you might have a favorite author. I might be walking through Barnes & Noble. I might see the book. I will pick up the book, buy it, send a note. Or I'll order it from Amazon. Whatever the case may be, you have the information, and now it's so easy, it's in the palm of your hand. It's not in this giant Rolodex that only sits on your desk. So you have the possibility of more touch points more often. Have a great CRM.
I was just going to ask you.
Take notes like crazy. Someone's favorite cocktail, someone's favorite color, the dates of birth of their children, their anniversary, the anniversary of when they bought their apartment, or the anniversary of the first time that you met. Something that's tangible and very personal. Because right now, something that's not customized, I hate that stuff. The more personal an experience that I've had with you, the likelier I am to want to deal with you.
Right. What was the experience that you had with your first client ever? And what do you think that you've learned from that you're still using now? I know, it's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I have to look really far back. That actually is a really tough one.
Well, we can ask another question. So let's talk about when you first got in this business. What skills are you using now that you've used then? Because I'm a big fan of old school. There's a lot of new school.
There's a lot of new school. There's a lot of social media. So I've always been a believer in knowing your product. And for a while, I'm also very involved on the local level at my board, and from the international perspective, the International Real Estate Federation is also something I'm very involved in. But knowing your product, just because you can see almost everything online today, so can your clients.
Right.
So there's a big difference between saying to someone, there's this new project that just came out. They probably read it on Curbed.
Right.
They probably saw it before you did. But actually, I have a funny story about Curbed. I had an apartment I was selling. I was a listing broker. And I was just about to email back to the buyer's broker that everything was fully executed. And somehow the status had changed in our internal systems, which triggered something on StreetEasy. And Curbed picked up that this apartment was in contract. And so the buyers actually said, hey, I guess we're fully executed. And I'm like, I was just about to tell you that. How'd that happen?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. But the point is that your buyers and the sellers are very educated. The information is out there. We are no longer information brokers, we're knowledge brokers. And we always have been. So if I can say to you, you know what, oh, I just saw the Woolworth Towers are being converted to condos. But I can say to you, I have been up on the 44th floor, and I know what the layout is going to be and what the views are going to be. That makes me different.
Right.
I know my product.
And that's something that a new agent can do and a very experienced
agent can do. Even if there are, people say now, broker caravans are dead. That's a great opportunity for you to go preview product that perhaps you don't have the clients for, but now it's something you can talk about.
Right.
I just saw these 3 great new developments. I just saw these great resale properties. That gives you something to talk about that makes you different from other people.
Right.
So that's definitely a big one. And I think people rely too much on, oh, well, I can see it from my iPad, and I can see it from my computer, and I can see the video. All of that stuff is great, but it doesn't compare to being in the space. When you're in the space, you can feel the space, and if you know and you listen to your clients, and your client says, well, I really want to see that apartment. And I can say to you, I know you really want to see that apartment, but I know how much you love to have good space when you walk into an apartment. I've been in that space.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
And that saves everybody time and energy.
So the message is, get away from, social is great, online is great, but really there is nothing better than actually seeing something, feeling it, touching everything that we tell the consumer to do and say, oh, those are great pictures, but let's go see it. You have to be doing that yourself. Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. Know your product.
Right.
Know your product. In that process, you will also form great relationships with other brokers in your market.
And respect.
And you might say, you know what, I love this, but I don't have someone for it now, but what else do you have that's coming up?
Right.
Hey, you know what, I have something that's coming up, it's a 2-bedroom on the Upper East Side, maybe you'll have somebody for me.
Right.
And that back and forth is also incredibly valuable as well.
Right.
People love to hide behind computers, they love to hide behind phones. Go out and be a person. It's actually really, I'm very frustrated in a way that this week, so many people have had to remind us to remember our humanity.
Yep.
I don't know what that
unfortunate.
says about us today. Remember your humanity. Go out, be a good person. When you're interacting online, for the love of all things, be a good person. People are watching. I see some things and I go, I never want to interact with you.
Yeah.
I never want to interact with you. I never want to send business your way. And what you do and how you act is a direct reflection on you.
Right.
Online or offline. Years ago, people used to come up to me and say, you know what, you're exactly like you are online. And I never really understood that. I'm actually a little kind of cranky and crabby online sometimes, but people say I'm nicer in person.
You're very nice.
But what you see is what you get. I have channeled my snark into my back channels. It doesn't come out in public as often.
Right.
And, we all have bad days.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things we have to be thankful for, and I think keeping that in the back of our minds is really important. And the more that you do that, the more you have a perspective on what's going on in your life and in your business.
Right. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
It's been awesome, and you're very friendly and happy. I don't care what you say.
No, I am very friendly and very happy, but I do not feel compelled. You find your people. You're not a good match for everybody.
Yep.
Don't force yourself to do things that you don't. Go outside of your comfort zone, but also recognize what works for you.
Right.
Whether that's in business and life and all sorts of other stuff.
Yep.
Who knows?
How can people connect with you?
How can people connect with me? LinkedIn, Nicole Beauchamp. Twitter, Nikki Beauchamp. Instagram, Nikki Beauchamp. Just Google Nikki Beauchamp and pick away and, send a message and you'll get a message back.
Awesome. Thanks again. And thank you for tuning in to this week's Sam Speaks and Sam Speaks radio podcast on iTunes. Please tune in each and every week. We have somebody new, a new interview, giving you the best in the business of tips, trends, and technology. Thanks again. Have a great week.